picking up where we left off. So number 28, you see you have those X's, and those indicate slaps. So just make sure that you're keeping your fingers separated. And we're going to do this at 72 beats per minute again. And if you notice, we have mostly slaps and then a bass. And so we don't want to guess how many slaps we're playing. We want to make sure you're counting them. So just don't try and wing it. Count all the way through this. We're going to do each measure 2 times. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I just went right into that, and I'm sure I lost at least a couple of you with that. So one thing that will definitely help you, because I'm sure even if you can't do it out loud, I'm sure seeing and hearing the counts is helpful. Write them down on the music. Type them out, write them down. Do what you need to do so that you can connect those counts, which you are very used to hearing in your daily life in general, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's not alien to you. Write those out, especially during the slower moments where your hands have silence, right? So that generally means around each measure where there's a bass, whether it's beat 4 of the first measure, 4 and of the second measure, 3, 4 of the third measure, and the fourth measure, 3 and 4 and. And again, if mixing up the eighth notes and the eighth rests mess you up, and this applies to everything that we're doing in this lesson, this is something to make sure that you're taking note of. Always start with, and I said this earlier, but I'll say it again, always start with making sure you have the rhythm. Make sure that the when you're playing is comfortable. If you're playing the right note, quote unquote, but it's at the wrong time, it's no longer the right note. The right note only has one specific time to be played. You know, if I said, hey, pre-COVID times, for example, hey, let's go out, let's meet for dinner. We're going to go to the pizza place down the street. Okay, when, right? I can't go there until I know when. So the when is very important. We're going to do that again, and I want you to make sure that you're counting all the way through. If you're not comfortable just yet, I would actually recommend counting only while I play. Try doing that. I'm going to do 28, again, repeating each bar. I guess I changed my mind about doing these more than once, but when we go back and do 96 beats per minute, I am only going to do that once, I promise. Okay. So here's 28, 2 times each bar. If you need to, just count through, or if you need to, just play the rhythm without differentiating high and low sounds, and then come back and see if you can put them in there. And that's when you would have to also work out, okay, which hand is playing those basses? Do I want to play them both on the same time? Measure 4 of 28 is the first time we get bass sounds, center of the drum, or the low bell, if you will, off the beat. They are not downbeats anymore. They are upbeats or offbeats. That's a synonym for upbeats. Here we go. 28, one more time. 1, 2, and ready, and go. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And 1, and 2, and 3. Oh, you know what? I am not repeating these properly. Scratch that from the record. That was a test. Let's go back to 28. And I actually also realized the second measure, we also have an offbeat in the bass. So if you were in the middle of writing me an email like, you were wrong or I'm confused, I apologize. That was a mistake. Let's go to 28, 2 times each measure, I promise. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Next measure, and 2, and 3, and 4. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Last measure, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 4, and. All right, hope that went well for you. Now, let's look at 29. What's different here? Well, we have 3-4 instead of 4-4. We have a similar but slightly more frequently changing arrangements of downbeats and upbeats. And if you look in the first two measures, we have bass on the beat, tone upbeat, and then we kind of switch that around for the next two measures. If that doesn't help you, don't worry. I would encourage you to read anyway. Make sure that you're keeping your eye on the page and that you don't let it get too far ahead, but you don't want it to be behind either. Meaning, wow, that was a confusing thing that I just said. Let me start that over. And in general, when you're reading, you want to keep your eyes a little bit ahead of where you are reading. The same way if you're riding your bike, you don't look at your pedals, you don't look at the ground where you're riding at that moment. You look ahead so that you don't run into someone or miss a red light. You want to see where you're going so that you can be prepared. Same deal here, or same way if you are reading a speech out loud. You're not going to read every word as you come across it. You have to kind of chart ahead and make sure that you understand where the end of the sentence is. Similar idea. Number 29, we're in 3-4, so we get 3 preparatory beats now. It's not 3 for nothing, it's 3 to go. That's my own little thing there. Here we go. 29. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 3. That was there and gone really quick. Let's do that one more time. 1, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 3. And hopefully you remember to do that one slap. There's one slap in there. Okay, I'm now going to go back and do everything at 96. So got my metronome here, which has its own microphone over there. I'm going to speed it up. So now here's 96. So we got a little bit more movement. 26, 2 times through. Number 26, 2 times through. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and again and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and number 27. No repeats on this one. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Goes by pretty quickly. Number 28. Each measure happens twice. Slaps and bass. 1, 2, ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Oh, ignore those last 2 notes. Ignore them. Oh, shame on me. 29. That was another test. 29. We're in 3. Here we go. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 3. That one. Wow, that goes by quick. So you definitely want to use the rewind function there. I also recommend giving at least a little bit of thought, like which hand do I want to go where, and then just sticking with it. If you want to, for the time being, do all one hand on tone and all the other hand on bass, that's fine. But get comfortable switching with either hand. That's my advice. Okay, so now let's go with number 31. We're going to slow it back down to 72 beats per minute. Slow, 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 slow. Bam. A good old comfortable 72 beats per minute. And let's read through this. In these etudes, the rhythm of the first measure is presented again in the second measure, but with one or more eighth notes removed from the downbeats. So we can play up to 8 eighth notes per measure, and if we remove the downbeats, we can still have all the same counts, right? So each pair of measures is going to have the same counts. That's another way of saying what I wrote there. In this way, the counts will be the same. Hey, what do you know? But the number of notes will change. This pairing of measures continues in 32 and 33, each finishing with a coda, a musical tail. So capo, top, coda, tail, right? Those are musical terms. Coda generally means it's a separate section almost. The coda has a musical quality of wrapping things up. That's an expression that will be useful. So let's do this. Number 31. Again, if you can only get the rhythm and not the targets, not the bass, tone, and slap, do that first. Come back to it. Remember, the bass is on the bottom. We're looking at the note heads, not the stems, the note heads themselves. Bass is on the bottom space. Tone is on the second highest space in the staff. I'm talking about the 5 lines of musical notational real estate that we're looking at on the page. And then in that same space as the tone, but with an X note head, is slap. And to remind you, like slap, this is something where my hands don't do what I would like them to do. So what I'm kind of doing instead is I'm playing my slaps loud and my tones a little bit more reserved so that we get a loudness shift. But we also want to have the finger spread change. Slaps, fingers apart. Tones, fingers together. That's the thing I can't do. So do as I say, not as I do in this case. Here's number 31. 1, 2, ready and go. And 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. So hopefully, and I was deliberately trying to use the exact same inflection in my voice when I did the first and second measure of each pair. So hopefully that helped you. Let's go on to number 32. This etude uses only the even-numbered measures from etude 31 plus a short coda. So, in other words, we're taking out all the setup measures. First, third, fifth, seventh. You know what odd and even means. I don't know why I just explained that. But if you look at the first measure of 32, that's the second measure of 31. Make sure you just, if that's confusing, I'll say it again. Every other measure has been removed out of 31, and that's what 32 is, right? Let's do it. Maybe that will be all you need to get clarity on this. So, 32. 1, 2, ready and go. And 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, if you notice, I put some notes in parentheses in number 32. Those are the beats that have been removed, the downbeats that have been removed. If you find that is a helpful thing, sometimes writing in every single count might be a little bit cluttered. Maybe it's a little unnecessarily time-consuming. So writing down only the counts underneath the rests, that might be something useful for you to do. Let's look at number 33. And for this etude, note that each two-measure rhythmic idea is repeated. So we have those two bars in between the repeat signs with the dots, right? So the way that everybody learns repeat signs is that they have those two dots, which are eyeballs, and they look at each other and repeat the stuff in between. They look at it twice. And just a reminder also, if you haven't been doing so, the PRT and 3X, those boxes, if you've been able to rep it perfectly using the other videos that are just these materials where I'm just clicking sticks or clapping along. If you want to keep track of your practice, I still highly advise it. And then the 3X is if you've been able to play it entirely 3 times in a row with no mistakes, that's check it, you got it. Okay. Here is number 33. 2 times each pair of measures. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 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 1, 2 and 3 and 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 4. Next line. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 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 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 1 and 2 and 3. 4 and 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 1 and 2. 3 and 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 4 and 1. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 2 and 3 and 4 and highly advise, especially as we get more rests on the beat, that you label the offending rests, right? The downbeats, just so you don't lose track. Remember that the silence is where people tend to get off, not while they're doing something, but while they're waiting to do something. And even if it's a small wait, that wait can be misjudged, come in at the wrong spot, hard to make an adjustment, dominoes fall, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping those dominoes nice and vertical. Now we're going to go through 31, 32, and 33 at 96 beats per minute. Let's do this. Here we go. 31. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, cha cha cha. One thing, getting into that third line, especially as we go slower, make sure your eyes whip around there and look ahead before your hands get there, because your hands are going to be disappointed otherwise. They won't have proper instructions. Number 32. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 33. 1, 2, 2 times each pair. 1 and 2 make sure that that is still going. Let me restart that. My computer just went stupid for a second. 33. 1, 2, 2 times each. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 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 4. Next line. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2, 3, 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 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Listen to how resonant my bass is, by the way. 1. That's what you want to go for. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 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 1 and 2, 3 and 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 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Here's a little bonus feature. Number 33, no repeats. 1, 2, ready, hit it. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. My computer decided to make all the sounds during that rep. All right. So that is rhythm exercise group number 4. Again, don't forget, go back over any spots that you need to go back over again for yourself. And if anything really isn't clear, please take note of it, and I will make sure that I include it in an update video as well as in the next time that I see you in class. Hope this was enjoyable. Hope this was clearly explained, and I will see you next time in class.